Ciao Sara, come stai? Sara Schiralli, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Sì, sto bene.
Oh, oh, fantastic. Your Italian is perfect. Okay, we talk about the beginning. Okay, you start out writing poetry, then music, right? So tell me about the beginning.
The beginning, I don't know. I think a lot of it comes from being an only child and just kind of going into your own world. It's very common. I don't think I'm unique in this story, but
Mhm.
I think living in between two worlds, moving from Italy as a young child to London was, you know, that was a complete shift for me. And then having to sort of relearn, like learn English essentially. Even though my mum's English, I had to learn the language.
Yeah, sure.
And so I felt definitely an outsider, and I think I just started to write. I was always auditioning for crap, like musicals and things, things that I wouldn't really watch now necessarily, but back then I was always auditioning for things. I think I knew that music would play a huge role in my life somewhere.
Yeah,
And music, good music was always played in my environment at home anyway, so I had like the mixture between commercial radio in the background, and then my mum would play like Johnny Cash, and my aunt would play like the Beatles, and Leonard Cohen and all these things. So I grew up listening to kind of great people essentially that were poets. I mean, I think good songwriting is poetry anyway. Really, that's in my
so
opinion.
yeah, sure. But you went to Sweden to write your first album, Bang Bang. Really, is
Yes,
correct? Yeah.
yes, yes.
What time was the?
When did I write it?
Yeah,
Oh, ages ago. I mean, I think I wrote it in about, I don't know, maybe about 15 years ago now. I can't
15.
remember.
Okay.
It was
Then,
a long time ago Bang Bang was written.
yeah.
And
Then
then
many,
yeah.
no, I said, then many things happened in your life. And you tell in your song, you tell a lot about yourself, your composition.
Yeah. I
What
think
is,
but I think as a songwriter, that's what you're drawing on, isn't it? I mean, the self. I mean, I trained as an actor, so I think I have that sort of method acting in me anyway. And so there's a sense of really being authentic and true to the writing,
Mhm.
and if I write something that isn't true in some way, I mean, of course, stories are, there's always an element of fiction, but I think if I write something that isn't completely authentic to me, that doesn't mean something somewhere in
Yeah.
my story, then it doesn't, I wouldn't sing it, because I've never sang lyrics, somebody else's lyrics. I write all my own lyrics, and now I write my own music too, and then as well. Um, but I would compromise on the music side if I liked something, but I definitely have never compromised lyrically ever or top lines, no.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, your music is okay. Is acoustic, but also electronic altogether is a very interesting. Tell me about now about the last composition. Frankenstein Bride is a new work.
Yeah.
What did you say on the album on your
Well,
work?
yeah, essentially it was an album it
Yeah.
was written at the end of last year and the beginning of this year. And I wanted to release it as an album, but because I sort of undertook the task of starting to produce myself,
Yeah.
it felt a bit overwhelming. So I decided to kind of release each song as singles, but essentially they are a body of work. So yeah, I mean, it's all one story, and it basically kind of documents my time from lockdown through to now, really, in some
Mhm.
way. I mean, it's difficult with writers. I think there's always more. I'm writing new stuff all the time, so I don't know. I wrote all those songs on an acoustic guitar And then I decided to sort of see what would happen if I just produced them in a different way, and that's what happened. So I never really have a plan. I'm still so early in the production stages, so I don't really, essentially it's just playing.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I'm just seeing what happens.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I think as long as I'm just true to what I'm feeling in that moment and that turns me on, then I'm
Yeah,
happy.
yeah, yeah. But I'm curious to know. Okay, your sound is very intimate, almost homely, quite homely. Where do you create music, and where do you record? Home or recording studio?
No, at home at the moment. I mean,
Okay,
all the stuff I've produced myself, I record pretty much in my studio at home. Um, Before that, all my records were like High from Below was recorded at Rack Studios in London, which is a very beautiful independent studio. Um, Bang Bang was obviously recorded in Sweden, and then Alive Thoughts and Invisible were recorded in studios in East London. So
mhm,
they were all sort of, up until that point, up until this point, they've all been collaborations.
okay,
Um,
okay.
yeah, and this is the first time that I'm kind of really, yeah, just kind of. I suppose maybe it does sound more intimate because of that. But I think also maybe more interesting and less likely to put me in a box, because I think when you work with a producer, and I still would absolutely. I think they put their vision onto your creativity, and the production is everything in a lot of
Yeah,
ways.
yeah.
So yeah, so that's why, yeah, it's much more intimate sound. Yeah.
So last, okay, you are half Italian, but you live in England. But it's so strange that you are more famous in France or America, and not in England. It's really strange.
It's a story of my life.
Yeah.
It's complicated. I know it was an accident, really, the whole French thing. When I made the record in Sweden initially, my management at the time couldn't get it signed in the UK because that record was the first time when we were starting to sort of put music as jingles to stuff and to films in the UK. America and the rest of the world had been doing it for a long time, but in the UK, they weren't doing it. So the Swedish, I think, are always ahead of their time anyway with creativity a lot, because music is such a force and it is in the UK, but kind of it's different. And so when I made that record, we couldn't get it signed in the UK, and then uh nobody was thinking about France. And then a friend of mine gave the record to uh, a producer of Radio Nova at the school gates, because she was picking her children up and he was picking his kids up. And he said, "Look, I love you, but I can't play it.
Okay.
If we don't like it, we're not that kind of thing." And she said, "No problem." And she kind of gave it to him. And then they MySpaced me and they started playing one of the tracks, Paranoid, on repeat, like as a jingle. And then invited me over for a gig, and then everybody knew the songs. And I didn't really know that
Sure.
Radio Nova was such a big deal in France, but it is. And that's really how it started in France.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now you will become famous in Italy. So I hope so.
Yeah,
I
that's
Yeah,
the thing is about it. It would be nice to kind of. It's funny because I've never been there for music ever.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. What's your 2024?
live shows with these tracks and some new secret projects that might
Okay,
be collaborations that I don't want to say yet. And so yeah, some live shows, getting out into the world and playing my music and sharing
okay,
it with people. So
okay. And
yeah.
for like searching online, you are your page or something else?
Yes, I guess all my links are. My Instagram is my main source, and Facebook, I'd say, but Instagram is the place where you'll find me the most. Um, I'm not a great TikTok person.
Okay,
I haven't. that's I
Me
think
too.
it's a step too far.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, perfect. Sarah, thank you very much. See you soon. I hope so. Yep.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Okay.
Ciao.
Bye.
Ciao.
Bye. Ciao.